It's me, Ingrid Lee. Welcome to another episode of Townsquare Talks, Everything 361, brought to you by Victoria Air Conditioning. You are listening to another episode of Townsquare Talks, Everything 361, powered by Victoria Air Conditioning. They're not comfortable until you are. Hey, Crossroads, I'm super stoked to introduce you to my next guest. This is Justin Schoener. He is the owner and operator and behind all things awesome for Outlaw Off-Road. How are you today?
Doing great.
And that's just one of the many things that we're going to be getting into today. But he and I just came fresh from having a Townsquare Talks downstairs, and I get the honor of having you for about 20 more minutes. But there were some things that you talked about, Justin, that I really want to make sure we get on this podcast.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, well, let's talk about this. I'm going to start with this. If I knew nothing else about you in the years that we've been friends, the other day when you said, I do the work, left probably the biggest impression on me in all the years that we've been friends, and we've talked back and forth about spiritual growth. And so right away, I want to just say, thank you for giving me what my new mantra is that's going to carry me at least for the next couple of months, because I thought about you saying it over and over and over again, because I want to start with your origin story when it comes to building a business like you have, like, Outlaw Off-Road, and then delving into, now you've got Airbnbs and you're about to write a book, so big things are happening for you. But let's talk about, local business ownership.
Sure.
And talk about your origin story.
So I started Outlaw Off-Road of Texas in my parents' garage. And it all started back when I was 15. I was working a construction job. My mom would actually drop me off and saved up enough money to buy my first truck before I turned 16. Parents instilled great values in us, didn't hand us anything per se.
Right.
And so I saved up, $1,500 and I bought an 80 Chevrolet long bed four-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're called square bodies. They got their own nicknames. They're becoming very popular and hard to find these days.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Do you kind of wish you saved it in a way?
In a way, I do.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth a lot more money, but it is what it is. So yeah, I bought that truck for $1,500. It already had a lift kit on it. A 4-inch lift, something mild and nothing too crazy, but it had a Corvette motor and it was a pretty hot little truck. And just going through the basic mechanic, the basic maintenance of it, my dad and I asked him, Dad, how do I find out what gear ratio this truck has? So I started digging through my Peterson's off-road magazines.
Right.
And we didn't have the internet back then. This was the early 90s. And I had a stack of magazines.
So we're doing these things called books.
Yeah.
Or magazines. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
And it was kind of that guy who hung those posters on the wall.
Right.
And we figured out how to do that, through the magazines, the tech side, the techie stuff.
Right.
And so we figured out the gear ratios didn't match on this truck. For any gearheads out there, I had 373s in the front and 308s in the back. But had I put it in four-wheel drive, the truck would have exploded, literally. The rear end, the front end, the transmission, the transfer case. Like, it would have disintegrated.
Right.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of parts would have been just destroyed. So, lesson learned. I told myself a pact. I said, dude, this is horrible. This person is horrible for never telling us that.
Right. Especially because you're like, here's the other thing, too, about that story. You're like a young kid. You've been saving up. You've been working your rear off. You finally get this truck that you can afford, but also it's kind of dreamy. I mean, it already has a lift. Like, there's some things that are attractive about this truck to someone who loves vehicles.
Right. Modified vehicles.
Yeah. Exactly. And you found out that you were lied to. In fact, it was almost dangerous.
Exactly, 100%. And so, I found some used parts on the classifieds newspaper section.
Because, no internet.
Yeah, there was no internet. So I bought some axles. Me and my dad swapped them out. Had to tear the whole suspension of the truck apart. But it already had a lift kit. So that's where I learned how to put it back together.
Very cool.
Made the truck 100%. It was a solid truck. But, as I went to St. Joe High School, my parents paid the gas bill because we really didn't have time to work.
Right.
And they got that $300 gas bill back from that credit card statement.
For like the year?
Oh, no, for the month.
Oh, my gosh.
This was when gas was probably, at 99 cents a gallon or something crazy.
Wow. So was it just a gas guzzler, or were you taking it everywhere?
Both. And flooring it everywhere. I have
there you go.
I have a heavy foot.
Yes,
I like a lot of power. So yeah,
So they took your card away.
Yep. And they they get to sell this damn thing, and so we sold it and got something more efficient. But I still modified it, and
Right.
but I made money on the truck, minus labor,
Right.
And it allowed me to escalate to the next higher end vehicle. I sold the
Right.
truck for like $4,000, and I bought a $4,000 vehicle then.
Right,
So I just kept,
exactly, exactly. And was it cool, though, to be able to the next person that you sold it to know in your heart of hearts that everything was clean?
And ready. And,
Right, and it was ready, and it
Right.
wasn't going to hurt anyone, and it was certainly the vehicle wasn't going to be hurt. So you sold it in much better shape. Like, that must be
Right.
such a great feeling, especially like in the job that you do with Outlaw. Like, you improve things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Things that they've already loved, so now they just love things more. Like, that's a really cool business to be in.
It is. People are happy to come into our shop to customize their vehicle with their own, I'm going to just call them intentions, and we just
Right.
help guide what they need to do. They know what they
Right.
want, but we help
Yeah.
complete that vision for them.
That's
And,
awesome. I love
yeah.
that you've got a great smile, too, when you're saying that. That's really cool.
And, be able to pick out customers' wheels. I've got a lot of female customers as well, modifying their Jeeps and what have you.
Yeah.
And, we just take each vehicle and ask them, how much they want to invest in that vehicle.
Right.
And then, we give them the guidelines of what we recommend doing.
Right.
And what wheel, finish, color,
Right.
what have you. Make
all
it
that good stuff.
And make it all flow and match.
And is personalizing a vehicle is that a business that just continues to grow as we continue to? Because I had never thought of personalizing a vehicle until I saw your Jeeps that you have outside kind of on display, and I was like,
Right.
wow, that is pretty amazing.
I think every person has their own little niche, whether it's a boat.
Right.
Whether it's a UTV, a four-wheeler, a side-by-side.
Right.
Customization, it just allows someone to make it theirs.
Right. Truly
unique.
theirs. Yep.
Whether it's the coloring, the paint scheme, what have you, how far you want to go into it. But no, I don't. It's definitely not going anywhere because, again, it's just your own personal vehicle and what
Right.
you've done to it. And
Yeah.
you're proud of it. You're proud that I own that truck now and it's mine. Look at that wheel and...
Right, exactly. This is exactly what I wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very cool. So now, from the time you started with the 15-year-old until the time you legit opened your business, how many vehicles had you bought and sold?
I would probably say probably 7 or 8 by the time I was 19.
So you had turned these trucks. Basically, I just say like you're turning them around, but it's
flipping
like,
them kind of thing.
Yeah, but are you really like legit flipping them?
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
I mean,
fascinating.
I'm putting money into them and
exactly.
Getting the money back out of them and selling them for a profit. Not much of a profit, but hey, I was able to go from a 80 Chevrolet to an 84 Blazer to another 84, then to an 89, and just kept
you just kept building it up.
Right.
Wow, that's really cool to know you now and be able to look back and go like, this is where you started because you put in the work.
Right, 100%.
I mean, I do the work.
I do the work.
So when did you decide I'm going to make this a business?
I was probably about 20 years old in college at the local Victoria College here.
Right.
Doing some I&E technical technician stuff.
Right, kind of like what your dad did.
Yep, what my dad did, and parents would push me towards that way because I didn't really have a route I wanted to go.
Right, I
per se.
understand.
Trying to listen to the parents, as much as I possibly could, and they just wanted me to have a safe job.
Right,
but
exactly.
I was more of a risk taker. I wanted to battle it out my own.
Right, exactly.
And I started having a passion for these trucks, and I was like, dude, you know what? No one's modifying trucks around here around Victoria.
Right.
Why can't I be the first? So I literally put ads in the newspaper for truck accessories.
Wow, are you serious?
That's how the business started. In my parents' garage, my parents' shop out in Telfner, Texas. Big shout out to the big T town, Telfner. Between Inez and Victoria.
Right.
And it all started there, and I went heavy at it for 3 years, and then I branched off and got a big boy shop in an industrial area in the middle of Victoria in Cozy Circle.
Yeah.
And then
were you so proud about your big boy
100%.
shop? Please tell them the story of your big boy shop and what that consists of, because it's so cute.
So in order to afford rent at this facility, I split it with 2 other friends, and they had 2 other side businesses as well. One did car audio, and one did taxidermy.
Yeah, I love it.
We had dead animals, we had banging sound systems, and we had badass trucks. I mean, the perfect redneck environment, right? I mean, making the windows rattle, and
I love it. That is awesome.
The deer heads in the back. And
anybody ever say like, "Hey, man, we put that sound system in. Can you do some deer?"
I think the businesses did cross over
some,
a little bit.
Antlers while you lift my truck. I love that.
Speaking of antlers, did you ever get those done on your SUV? You always hounded me about.
No, but you know what? I'm starting this whole thing over. I gave them, my father-in-law wanted them so bad, these horns, and I gave them to him, and then he never hung them where he said he was going to hang them. So I'm like, I'm starting that whole dream over, because just the other day at St. Joe, of all places, was an old school, like Oldsmobile, or maybe it was a Cadillac, and they had horns.
Oh, sweet.
So I took pictures for you, and I will send those to you.
We're going to get that done for you.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
We're going to call you Boss Hog, like Dukes of Hazzard.
Lady Boss Hog.
Yeah, Lady Boss Hog.
Lady Hog. Hey, yeah. I'm all for it. All for it. But the way that whoever has this vehicle at St. Joe, they use screws.
Wow.
I was like, hey, you know what? They got it on.
They did.
They saw that something that they wanted to do, and they did it. They got it done.
Yep, they did the work.
They did the work. Yep. Amen, brother. Amen.
Yep. So we started off in that cozy circle, and things went great. Eventually, was able to. They moved on, and I was able to take the bay over myself, and then so an individual hit me up that had a well-known cardio shop that shut down on John Stockbauer, and he says, "Hey, bud, why don't you grow your business, and you can rent from me?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" It was double the rent, but it wasn't a crazy number, and I was willing to do the work to make it work.
Right.
And it was just me installing the lift kits, doing the sales up front, and so I took him on. And we were there for about 6 months. I had my own marquee out front, able to do some customization on some, sayings and stuff. My favorite one was, "Friends don't let friends drive stock trucks."
There you go.
Kind of a twist on, friends don't let friends drive drunk. Just being silly.
Exactly.
Making people laugh.
Young man who has his own business, and now he's got like a pretty stellar spot right on John Stockbauer.
100%. And
then until
a gentleman came in, an old elderly man from out of town, and asked where this individual was at, and I said, "I don't know where he's at." And I said, "Howdy, I'm Justin Schoener. I own Outlaw, Florida, Texas."
Yeah.
And he goes, "So you're running a business out of here?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Well, I got some bad news for you, bud." And he said, "This property is sold, and we're closing in 30 days, and you've got to get the hell out." I was like, alrighty then.
Wow. And you had vehicles, I'm sure, that you were working on?
Yes, 100%. We were about 30 days backed up, booked up. And it was a huge shop. So it was a showroom area, and then it had a huge shop behind it. Well, the guy that I was renting, so I was illegally subleasing, basically what I was doing.
Right.
I was renting from a guy that was renting from a guy.
There you go.
And I had a contract and stuff, but you know what? I could have took the guy to court over it all, but you know what? At the end of the day, I had work to do for customers. I had promises to fulfill, trucks to build. I didn't want to take the time on it. Let's move forward. Let's learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about rebuttal. I'm not worried about that. Let's just keep moving forward.
Right.
So it's a lesson learned.
Right, exactly.
And but the crazy thing was that individual owned the building behind the property that was selling, where the bays were at, where my automotive lifts were, and he tore that whole shop down around my building, around my trucks while I was working on them.
Wow.
Disassembled this whole metal building, and so I was working in open air.
Wow.
Nighttime, daytime, no breeze blocking the rain, but guess what? I was still getting the work done.
Did you do it?
I did the work,
of course.
Yeah. Called friends over, got some electricians, got some lights set up, got some electricity all set up, temporary poles. And man, we got them done. And finished it out. I was out by the 30 days, and was able to move back into Cozy Circle where I was.
Right.
And grew the business. Took over several bays from there, and had about 3 bays. And then after someone saw me doing the work, we're going to keep bringing that phrase up.
Good.
He approached me and said, "Have you ever thought about owning your own land and building?" And I was like, "Bro, I can't afford that." I wasn't thinking big enough. But he was thinking big enough for me. He was putting that vision into me. And that allowed... He said, "Man, I got a vision for you." He said, "If you roll with me," he says, "I got you." So he bankrolled me, became the bank, and that allowed me to build a 8,000 square foot facility on 1.5 acres on John Stockbauer.
Right.
It's a stunning facility, red building.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful showroom, well thought out. I thought everything out myself. And that allowed me to pursue and really grow this business and turn it into something where I can provide and have employees, provide for their families, and create a stable income.
Right.
So now we're up to 10 employees. And
that's amazing.
We were celebrating our 5-year anniversary October 1st this past year of being open in that new location, and it's just been on fire since.
That's awesome. And you said something downstairs that I want to make sure that we talk about, which is that now you don't have to work in the business.
I work on the business.
Now you can work on the business. Let's
Correct.
talk a little bit about your spiritual growth.
So I'm going to pause you for 1 second. I just
Sure.
want to bring this to fruition. So when I look out the front door of my building,
Yes,
I
sir.
can see, believe it or not,
Literally.
literally, I can see the old building where I got kicked out of.
Right.
So I can look at my past and
Right.
see that building there, and it's a daycare. It's very
Right.
obvious what it is across from the bowling alley.
Yeah.
But I can see that, and I can be thankful. And I turn back around and look at my badass red building, and I'm like, I made it.
Yeah.
I did this
And
all by
thank
myself.
you for the lesson learned.
100%.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Because you have such a great sense of gratitude.
Gratitude is key. That is.
Where people would fall down
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not get back up.
A lot of people do that, but gratitude is what keeps us alive. Being
Right.
thankful every day for what's around us.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, you said, go ahead and go into the next subject you were wanting to.
Yes. Oh, just about like where you grew spiritually. Because now you're not working, in the business. You're working on the business.
Right.
But there were tipping points for you spiritually. Gratitude, maybe you were always a hard worker. Maybe some of that's genetics. Maybe some of that is instilled, right? Like some of that is just comes from you naturally, right? But gratitude is something that you got to work on.
Every
right?
day. You need to practice
exactly.
gratitude.
And now you had someone who said, look, I have a vision for you.
Right.
Well, now you're having other people in a much higher level say, I've got visions for you too. So that's what I want to talk about is the spiritual
Sure.
side of your growth.
So joining Apex Mastermind Group, shout out to Ryan Stuman and the group out of Break Free Academy out of Dallas, Texas. I joined them in April of 21 and had my first onboarding call, or an introductory call, with Thomas Keenan, who's become a very good friend of mine. And he comes from a cardio background of about 22 years of owning that business and going through the trials and tribulations of owning an entrepreneur business.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah.
And so he said, I got a vision for you. He said, bro, you've been building trucks for 22 years now. Why don't you broaden your horizon and vision and offer services and coaching services to help other shop owners in your industry? So other truck accessories, lift kit guys, tire and wheel guys, automotive guys. He says, why don't you help coach them and teach them on how to properly run a business,
Right.
and brand yourself as the authority. So that is, we're steadily working on 21, but 22 is going to be hit hard with that branding authority
Right.
of me becoming the authority in the off-road aftermarket industry.
Right.
To be willing to help other shop owners not have to go through as much trial and tribulation as that I went through.
Right.
Because I feel that they're all technician-owned businesses. But
Right.
they're not truly ran like a true business should be ran.
I understand that. I definitely see that.
Be able to pull themselves out of it, have it fully operational without them there. Of course, there's nothing. I'm not saying remove yourself totally from the business,
Right.
but just be able to drop in for 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours a day,
Right. No,
And-
instead of having to, yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears every
Yep.
single day for 40 years. I mean,
And you're not just talking about coaching how to run a business. I mean, you're talking about life coaching.
100%.
Truly, yeah.
I want people to be able to reconnect with their families and be able to have that date night with their wives
Right.
and that kind of thing, and allow them some more freedoms and being able to leave a legacy. One thing I just heard one of my other coaches talked about today was, having the sales order processes in place. One of his best friends just passed away, but his wife has no idea how to run that business.
Yep.
It's all in his head, so it's not documented.
Right.
So that is, can you imagine how much stress that is for his family, his wife, his kids? That was their main source of income, and he's gone now.
Right.
That is horrible.
Yep.
I want to show other shop owners to have all this stuff documented, process in place, that a business can run by itself without you there. Of course, you want to have that input on a daily
Right.
basis.
Sure.
And again, working on the business, not
In the business.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there was a tipping point, or I would assume, right, that there was a tipping point. As your friend, I can say what I saw, where I saw you have the most amount of growth, was your 75 hard.
Right.
But in that defense, I didn't know you as well, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, I knew you were a business owner. We had visited before, we'd done some work together before, but it was watching you just absolutely kick rear and take names on the 75 hard until the day that you messed it up.
I failed.
But you looked me right in the eyes and said, "That's okay. I'm starting over tomorrow." And I couldn't, Justin, believe that you were going back in to do this 75 hard. And if you guys don't know what 75 hard is, Justin will tell you. It's easy. Just Google it.
Yep, it's very
and
easy to find.
That's the easiest part of 75 hard would be Googling it.
It's all per se. Right. 75 hard is a mental toughness challenge that is created by Andy Frisella. Andy has about 3 million followers on Instagram right now. He's a huge proponent of just being mental toughness.
Right.
Because there is in my opinion, there is nothing to strengthen that muscle out in this world. The mental toughness game.
Yeah, amen, brother.
And the 75 hard, it is a year-long program that he entices, but of course just getting started this first 75 days is the introductory part of it.
Right.
So you want to go into what that talks about?
Because I do want to say why you got to 65 and what happened.
So 75 hard is 2 45-minute workouts, your choice. One has to be outdoors, though, no matter what. I don't care what the temperature is.
Right.
You learn to, when you work out, that time, whether it's raining, snowing, sleeting, lightning. First, don't be dangerous with it, but you still got to complete it. But you look at the weather forecast and you figure it out. Hey, we got a rainy day. What hour is going to break from this rain to get it done, to do the work? So it's 2 45-minute workouts, your choice. Yoga, gym work, walking, running, whatever's hard for you, just do it. 2 45-minute workouts. And then a gallon of water a day, which I know you struggled with a little bit.
I struggled with a lot of it, but because it's ironic. It's just the water drinking that I struggle with. Right. But you also needed to read 14 pages.
No, 10 pages.
Okay, 10 pages
of a
day.
self-help or entrepreneurial book.
Yep.
Not no fiction book, but physically read them, either on a paper or Kindle. Audiobooks do not count.
Right.
Follow a meal plan.
Yeah. Your choice.
Your choice, man. If it's keto, protein gain, weight loss, whatever you want it to be, just follow a meal plan. No cheat meals, by the way.
Right. Absolutely not. I gotcha.
We can't go to La Hacienda and eat a Mexican plate, and by the way, there's no alcohol either.
Yeah.
For 75 days.
I told you, none of that was hard for me with the water.
Yeah, I hear you.
But you did it.
I did it. And you also have to take a selfie every day.
Selfie every day. And then that one time.
So I got to day, no bullshit, I got to day 65. And actually, on day 66, I look back the next morning and I go, oh, shit, I didn't take a picture. So guess what? I failed.
Wow.
I got that far. 65 days in.
Yep.
I was kicking ass at this game. And, so I had to start over again. I started over 6 or 7 more times over the next... I felt like on day 30, day 20, my mind was not ready.
Right.
Is the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
And then Corona hit, whatever you want to call it, in 20, April of 20, and I just took off. I just slimmed off. I just let it go.
Right.
For no reason at all, though. I wasn't stressed out with work or, and then I put all my weight back on. I was dropping some serious weight. Weight loss is a byproduct of this.
Right.
But my mental toughness game was strong. It was on point. The ideas that I thought of on those outdoor walks of how to brand my business, how to market it better. Man, it's just so powerful. The other entrepreneurial ideas I had.
Right. Because truly you are an entrepreneur.
Yes,
absolutely.
Ma'am. And that enabled me to really pursue my passion. And then I got Rona in December of 20. And I was like, dude, I should not be this freaking fat. This is ridiculous. I'm out of breath. So I said, I'm going to do this again. Thank God Andy came out with the iPhone app on 75 Hard. So you have a checklist and you can set alarm reminders.
Yep.
And so January 19th, my 43rd birthday, I fired it off on the 20th, the day after, and I completed it. 75 days straight. No screw-ups, no mess-ups. All through the winter freeze, the Texas nasty freeze we had.
Yep.
I did it all, no matter what. I did the work.
There you go.
April 10th, I finished that sucker. And, man, and that's when that's when I joined the mastermind group. Man, and things just snowballed after that.
Right.
My future, my envision, offer my coaching services.
You've got a second business now.
Yeah, I've got an Airbnb.
Airbnbs. Yeah, but not just the one. Like you're working on multiples.
Exactly. All across the country. And then, I started slacking off this summer. I was still doing the work, but I just noticed certain areas. And I did a thing called Apex Evolution We got beat down for 30 hours straight by some ex-Green Berets and ex-Navy SEALs.
You paid for that.
I did. I paid to get beat down.
Yes.
No sleep.
Right.
It was 40 degrees out there. Had a bald head, slacks in a long sleeve shirt, and the first thing they did was dunk us in a water tank. It was no joke.
Wow.
And yeah,
what attracted you to that?
Seeing what I'm truly capable of. Testing my endurance and my ability and what my mind is truly capable of. And it was crazy because we calculated, we probably ran about 17, 18 miles throughout the 30 hours, not all at once.
Right.
I'm still a big boy, and we did 300 push-ups
right.
Throughout the course, but it was crazy after getting beat down so hard. At 7 a.m., he told us to give us 10 push-ups. Dude, we knocked them out like they were butter.
Right.
So tired, 30 hours. Dude,
yeah.
We ran for another couple miles.
Yeah.
But it was awesome because in the middle of all this, they'd give us coaching lessons in our businesses. So it was also business-related. And he tied in these Green Berets and military. It's crazy how the military missions, and my wording's probably wrong, but how those are all tied into business aspects and learning curves of what they did wrong in those missions.
Right.
Planning, procedures, all that stuff. And where the U.S. military failed on certain missions in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Right.
So they tied that all back into our business and coached us, and then we went out and ran and got beat down.
But it's like you said, all of a sudden you jump up, you've just done all these push-ups, and you go, I can do this. If I set my mind to it, I can actually do 50 push-ups before 7 a.m. That's huge.
So
huge.
Guess what? It's 90% mental, and the other 10% is mental too.
Really? 100% mental.
It's all mental.
Wow. Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
It is. I've read before that you do about 15% of what your body can truly do when you're in the gym. When you feel like you have fatigue, your body's not really fatigued. Your brain is.
Wow.
Your paradigms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your ego. Those are the things that are truly...
I'm just out of breath. I catch my breath, give me a minute or two, and we'll get right back at it.
What do you think, though, for... Like, if you had a young kid that came in, he said, look, I want to do this, this, and this, right? This is what my dream is. What advice do you have for them?
Pursue it.
Yeah.
Pursue it.
Do the work.
Do the work. Do something you love, because that's what's going to be the biggest fulfillment in your life. You're going to be so rewarded seeing those completed projects that you do. And for me, it's completed trucks.
Right.
For me, it's a completed house that a family gets to enjoy on vacation.
Right.
I offer 5-star services in my short-term rentals.
Yeah.
It's the little touches that don't make you feel like you're sleeping on somebody's couch.
I got you.
The welcoming and the everything we provide, the amenities we provide.
Yep.
It's just a peaceful, relaxable vacation. And so, just doing the work.
No, and then what's really cool is, if you don't mind me sharing, like for 2022, some of the big things that you have going on, like you're about to write a book.
Yeah, a book is on my agenda and my vision board. It will be happening.
That's awesome.
And I want to expand my short-term rental portfolio.
Right, yeah. And now tell me about...
To across the country.
Yeah, this is the part where I'm excited about. All right, tell me about this.
I want to own, probably 8 to 10 short-term rentals across the country. And I want to travel to them in my Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van.
Because they're so cool.
And they're decked out fully to live in. And they're full drive. You can put a lift kit on them. You can put tires and wheels on them. Again, customizing it to your own.
Right.
And I want to travel between these Airbnbs and also travel to other shops to help coach them.
There you go. That is perfect. That is so exciting. Now, the other thing that I was going to say, though, too, if I didn't know you, right, I would think that this was instant. But you're talking about years and years and years of putting in the work.
Right.
And staying strong and never giving up.
Mental toughness.
Right.
Mental toughness.
Exactly. Justin, you are such an inspiration, to the community and to business owners here.
Because I come from nothing. I'm a middle-class family. Nothing was handed to me. I had to work for every damn thing I have.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
Absolutely. I know you are. Absolutely. So in summary, or I guess I should say, to close this up, although I could talk to you for hours, and I intend to, of course, tomorrow night, because you'll be leading a mastermind class. What do you think is the biggest mistake that those who have dreams and visions make? Because I know you can say because they give up. Like, what do you think? Like, do you ever have those thoughts where you're like, man, it would just be so much easier if I just sat right here and did the nothing?
It's laziness.
Yeah.
It's giving up on yourself, giving up on your dreams, your hopes. I mean, because your kids are watching, your family's watching, your haters are watching.
Right.
You need to prove something to everyone that you can truly do it.
Mostly to yourself.
100%.
Yeah, mostly to yourself.
Right. And show what you're capable of. I mean, it's no different than me getting beat down in evolution. That was still gas left in the tank.
Sure. Or finding out that the business that you thought was legit because you were, a young man who had, strong, ethical. Thank you. I can get that word. Ethical practice, and finding that wasn't, that wasn't really true. You still overcame.
Right. And I didn't think that got to court. Man, it wasn't worth my time.
Right. Because you had work to do.
I had work to do. I had customers' jobs to fulfill.
Absolutely.
I had promises to get to customers,
So what do you think? Like, what you see yourself in the next couple of years? You're going to be traveling. You're going to be picking up more Airbnbs. You're going to be kind of coaching. Yeah, and coaching being the number one. And you had someone tell you, this is what I see for you. And how incredible that must have been by masterminding.
100%. Surrounding myself with like-minded individuals is the number one thing, because you're a product of who you surround yourself with. The top 5 people you hang out with is what you are, whether it is an alcoholic, a drug user, a fitness professional. If you're in a gym, you're going to be in shape too if you're hanging around those people. And we can even go in further. If you're going to hang around millionaires, billionaires, you're going to become that.
Right.
And surrounding myself in my mastermind group with other successful business owners is taking me to the next level.
That's perfect. I think we end it right there. And you are definitely.
Well, I want to throw up on social media.
Sure. Oh, no, absolutely. I was going to say you're definitely at next level. So what about if people want to get a hold of you or they want to follow you on these journeys?
Sure.
How do they get a hold of you?
So I'm all over the internet. Justin Schoener, Justin Schoener. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
All of it.
All of it's there.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
No, not Twitter. I don't.
You don't tweet.
I don't tweet.
We'll get you there.
Yeah. So follow me along. Follow my journey. I'm posting very inspirational posts and daily lessons learned, and I'm becoming the best version of myself.
That is awesome.
I'm willing to help anybody else out, man. If you're a business owner, got a quick question, drop me a DM. Slide up in there, hit me up. I'll guide you the best I can.
That's perfect.
And follow along. I hope that I'm an inspiration to everyone around me.
Oh, I think absolutely you are. Justin, thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another segment of Townsquare Talks, Everything 361, brought to you by our friends at Victoria Air Conditioning. They're not comfortable until you are.